Hello, this is Jennifer from Aster Anne here with you, and today we're going to be embellishing our Luella clutch. Our Luella clutch comes in two sizes, but today we're going to be doing the large size. If you're not familiar with our pre-cut felt kits, they come with everything that you need inside them. So we'll open this up and have a little look at what you get, and then we will start embellishing. I've got an idea in mind. So with our kit, it comes all pre-cut as I mentioned. It comes with a zipper pocket already stitched in. It has the grommets or eyelets already pre-punched here for you. And it comes with a closure, a leather closure, and a handle. And we also have some pins, which you'll find that we'll need a bit later. So we have some pins, some needles, that's our closure, handle, and we also have some instructions. Okay, so I've decided to use some Liberty print fabrics. I have 15 different prints here. So these gorgeous Liberty prints, and that's what I'm using to embellish our Luella clutch with. And today I have decided to embellish our Luella clutch with some clamshells. I have kind of cheated a little and gone ahead and fused some repositionable stabilizer onto the back of my fabric, and then I have cut out some clamshell shapes. I think this is like a 2-inch size clamshell, but I've cut out my shapes, and we need 60 different shapes or 60 clams in order to embellish our Luella clutch, how we're going to do that today. Now, sometimes depending on what I'm doing, I may take out the zippered pocket depending on the embellishing, and with this one my plan is to stitch all the clams on, so I'm going to take the pocket off and then we'll restitch it back on later. Now with a repositionable stabilizer, generally they have the backing paper on them, and I just use one of our pins to score the back of the paper, and then we peel that off and get started. So nice and easy. And for this design we're going to pop one in the center. And before I go any further, I will just mark the center a little bit, so I'm making sure that we've got them even. So we go this way. So pop a couple of pins in just to mark that. So it is quite easy to go a little bit wobbly towards the end. So we got those there. So first one down, and then we're just going to work our way with placing some more of these clamshells, just random colors. So we start off with the one in the center, and then we'll go to 2 and then 3. This particular clamshell shape is one that I have designed myself. It's probably a little bit different to the clamshell that you're used to, in that it is wider at the bottom there. Other clamshells tend to be a bit finer into more of a point, but this is a little bit wider, so we are covering over the bottom of the clam. So keep going. So we're just layering like that. I have chosen to use Liberty prints here, but you can use lots of different prints of fabric. Okay, so with placing our clamshells down, we do just need to make sure that we're mindful of where these grommets and eyelets are here in the corner. So next one, we'll pop in there, and then we're just going to pop another one around the side. So yep, you can see just overlapping each one there. this next row we're going to go out wider. The best bit about using a repositionable stabilizer is that you can pick it up, move it around if you don't like exactly where it is. And it also eliminates any need for pinning anything down, which I like. You can still pop another one in here, or we'll just cut the tails off. But before I do that, I will show you how it's going to look. So with our Luella clutch, when it's put together and assembled, we're going to sew these seams here. So we'll have a little fold and have a look at what it's going to look like. Yep, I think all those colours are going to work really well. But we'll just pop in the last couple here. If you wanted to, you could completely cover the whole thing. I find that I don't tend to go that way. I prefer just to leave it this way because we're going to do some extra stitching in the sides there. So there we are. That's all of our clamshells in place. I'll trim those off and then we can start stitching. So now we're ready to start stitching, and I'm using WonderFil spaghetti thread. Spaghetti is a 12 weight Egyptian cotton thread, and being the 12 weight, it's nice and bold and it's really going to stand out on this project. And we're going to work our way around all of these clams. And we do want to have needle down. So we're just working our way around and coming to the top of the next clam, stitching around, and then we will just keep on going. And when we come back the next way, we will go over the top of that other piece of stitching. So we're just trying to do this so that we're not actually stopping and starting a lot, but just keep going around. So give it a little bit of thought, and then we're just going around. I'm also using a big eye needle. We have a 14 already inserted in this machine, so we need a big eye needle so that the thread's got some room to move. And I have Deco Bob in the bobbin already wound. I like to use an open toe foot as well. If you're not familiar with what an open toe foot is like, it is one that has a gap here in the middle where you can see where the needle is going to go. That is my favourite foot to use for pretty much all of my embellishing. I like to see where I'm going. And with this project we're going to use a 3 stitch length because we want the thread to stand out. Yeah, so there you can see we've started stitching around each of our clamshells, and you get into the rhythm where you're stitching around and keeping it going in one continuous line. So I'm going to start off down here a little bit further and we'll just keep stitching through, and then we pick up these little spots as we go. Finished stitching all of our clams on, and the next thing that we're going to do now is just do some kind of quilting, but right across the side all the way across the clutch to give it some extra definition as well. You could of course leave it there if you wanted to, but I want to just give some extra highlights to some of the plain parts of the felt here. My lines, I want to have them kind of evenly spaced, but also want to just be mindful of where the grommets or eyelets are. And I'm going to start from the right hand side, my right hand side of the eyelets, and stitch across and then work out how many rows I'm going to do. I'm still sticking with the same 3mm stitch length. Okay, that's the first row, and you can see we've just gone through the top of the clam there, and we are really just going to do this by eye. You could of course measure and do lines if you wanted to, but I'm happy to just have it go as I am by eye here. I don't think things need to be absolutely perfect. We're making it as we go, and it's really an organic process, so it's kind of like enjoy that process. So now, as per the instructions, I'm just going to show you how we put the closure on. So this closure is a magnetic closure, so you don't actually have to undo this or anything like that. It is magnetic. I like to pin, or we can stitch this one on first. So just putting it in the center, make sure it's in the center of the strap piece there. And I tend to personally hand sew them on more than I do machine. You can do it by machine. They all have pre-punched holes in them, so you can see the holes are already pre-punched, so that makes it really easy for stitching them on. I'm going to do it by hand. I'm using a thread that's called Home Deck by WonderFil. Again, it's a multi-filament thread, so it's really strong, and that's the one I'm going to use. I'm using black because I don't really want to have anything stand out. You can, depending on what it is that you're doing, of course, do a contrast thread around as you're stitching the closure on, but in this case I want it to just be black, so it's going to blend in, because I want the feature to be our other stitching. And I'm just going to take my needle, I've used the needle that comes in the kit. I'm going to come up into the top, from the top, so I have no thread on the underside, and just then going through the holes. We do need to go all the way in. And just come back up and work our way around. Just try and see. So I like to go through every hole, and so I will work my way around. You can, if you don't want to, skip a hole, but just my personal preference is to go through each one. So just tie a knot, and what I do in the back here is I would just take the needle in through the felt and pull that through and cut off the end. So that's that part of the closure stitched on. To mark where we're going to put the other one, we will just quickly pin our sides and fold over. Here you can see our clutch is looking gorgeous, but fold that over, and then we are just going to mark where the bottom part of our closure is going to go. So it's going to go there. A couple of pins there to hold it. Undo it again. And now we'll just stitch that into place. And before I forget, we do need to sew our pocket back in as well. Okay, so there we go. It's just finishing off stitching in the back there. And same as before. Just tie it off. And bury the thread. And we cut it off. And that's our closures done. Before we do the side seams, we do just need to stitch our pocket back on. And this one we might just want to have a look at where we've done some stitching before and stitch it back that way. So I'm just having a look to see my stitching. And I'm going to do it from the top so that I can go through my stitching as before. Okay, so that's our pocket stitched back on. And now we just need to do the side seams, which are really, really simple. It's just folding it up. And it's going to follow the same stitching as before. So when I stitch them together, I like to stitch it so that I'm stitching the front, so the top is always the part that I can see. There is our Luella clutch. Just trim off those threads. And we get our crossbody strap. And it just snaps on. So in the grommets, the eyelets. There we have it. One Luella clutch with clamshell embellishment. Okay, so as you can see, that didn't take too long. That was super quick, super easy, and that's the good thing about our kits, is that when you open them up, you can just start to embellish straight away. Great way to use up all your little scraps and things like that. But because they are a pre-cut base, you're just adding on your own little piece of you and personalizing it and making it your own. This is just one way that you can embellish our Luella large clutch. And don't forget, we have got lots of other TikTok videos. You can find more inspiration on Pinterest, Instagram, Facebook, wherever you'd like to find them. But yes, check them out. And as always, if you want to like and subscribe, you can see more of our videos as well. Thanks for watching.
Thanks for watching. And if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like and subscribe for more great tips, tricks, and tutorials. You can also sign up for our weekly newsletter to get the first look at free projects, sewing tips, and inspiring tutorials delivered right to your inbox. Check out the description box below to sign up. as well as find a list of stores and retailers that you can purchase WonderFil threads from in your country.